Hello, friends. Welcome to Akul Mac Live. This is a chilly morning in India. I don't know what is going on with the weather. It's been extraordinarily cold. So let's enjoy the cold. However, we have a little bit of uncertainty in our business scenario. People are finding it very tough. And to discuss this matter, let me invite my friend from UK, Mr. Neville.
Good morning, CK. Good morning, everybody. It's a chilly morning in London as well. We haven't got snow as they've got in the northern part of the UK, but it's pretty chilly here, and it's even chillier on the TV, which is probably part of the subject, the matter that we should be talking about today. CK, uncertainty, uncertainty in your life, in your business, in your friends' businesses and life, in what's happening in the world. There's lots of uncertain things that are out there. When it comes to uncertainty, CK, what do you see in your world that's uncertain?
Well, to give you a straight answer, I think the biggest uncertainty that I see is with regard to business, where to invest money, what activities to undertake, which is going to give us the return on investment. I think there is a lot uncertainty around deciding the business processes, who to hire, what to do, what will happen if I invest money on build a team. Will they able to give me result after 6 months? So all of those things are very very vague at this point in time, and I'm sure everybody are in the same boat. We don't know what is going to happen, and at the same time the new technology is also going to emerge, and so people are waiting for it, because if I invest a lot of money in the current scheme of things, it may change after 6 months. So I think it's a very very uncertain year for the business people, Neville.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, CK. But I have to ask a simple question. Is it any more or less uncertain than it was last year or the year before, or 6 months ago? Has individuals, have people become more uncertain because of the environment that's changing so frequently? Or, as we've seen with quite a lot of businesses, they've been very successful in the last year. In fact, some businesses have only started up in the last year. You'd think they would be mad if they started up during the COVID terms, because it is an uncertain arena. And by the way, these businesses are not just all based on PPE or well-being or things like that. They've actually started businesses which have now become, quite global. So what do you think it is really that underpins all this? Is this year any more uncertain than it was last year, CK?
Well, Neville, I think you made a very interesting point because it is not. It is pretty much the same. In fact, 2022 should be better off than 2021 because 2021 was a total washout if you look at it. But I think I agree with you. The e-commerce is booming. If there are investment waiting to happen in the e-commerce, it is booming. What else is booming from my point of view? The security, cyber security is booming. Education is booming. Healthcare is booming. So I think the investment opportunities are there, but then many people are not equipped with knowledge or skill sets to leverage these emerging business areas.
Now you've hit the nail on the head, CK. They're not equipped. Nothing's changed, really. In fact, this year has got more excitement than last year. This time last year, people were expecting more of the same. Remember, although we're talking about COVID, it's been around for years. It really hasn't been around for years. It was only early January that we heard something coming out of China. And it was only until sort of February, late February, probably mid-March, that it started to hit the world. And once it hit the world, my goodness, we heard the tsunami, a pandemic. It moved in from a local phenomena into a pandemic in pretty quick time. But again, I expect a lot of people last year thought, oh, this is just SARS. It's going to go away or blow away, just like SARS did in the early 2000s. Well, unfortunately, this one didn't. And it really did hit everybody because governments were forced, apparently, to do the only thing they could do, and that was to lock down, which meant everybody worked from home. It certainly was an interesting phenomena that we were all looking for. You've only got to go back looking at Harvard Business Review and Inc.com and all these other so-called influencers were saying, oh, it's a lot better if people work from home and we had a different work-life balance, et cetera, and you can get as much productivity, in fact, more out of 4 days if you give people Friday off. Well, that was all tested in the last 12 months. And we can see that actually, yes, you can work from home. But interestingly enough, even on that score, I've seen businesses in the UK getting a little bit fed up with that. You know, if you can't see it, it's not happening. And that's crazy, isn't it? You know, so that's why we have all these offices that are now people are going back to, despite the fact the government here are saying, if you can work from home, please do. Let's stop the spread. Because we're now into the Delta variant, Omicron, and there's probably another one coming along the pipe. That's what we do know. So uncertainty actually is all around us. And it's not a question of the uncertainty that's around us, it's how we deal with it. Charles Swindoll said very famously, and not because he was a researcher, he was a pastor in the States. So he's a priest. And he said, 90% of life is how we deal with it. 10% is reality. So it's how we deal with the uncertainty that is really going to make a difference. And as you said, CK, lots of companies last year went digital. They put retail shops on their websites, and they've really made an impact into their own business. Did they have the money to do it? Who knows? I mean, when it comes to investment, because I want to deal with that one on its head, with my experience of corporate and SMEs, great projects can always be financed. The problem we've got is defining the project, making it so sexy, so rich that you can find an investor. And the funny thing was, last week I was on a conference call, and it was about investment in SMEs. And there were no barriers to entry to people to come on this conference call. And to my surprise, no one had asked what were the funding requirements of all the attendees. In the flyer, it didn't say, you know, it just talked about scalability and funding your business. So it really wasn't talking about whether this was $500 or $500,000 or $5 million. And I just sat on the panel and I asked, there were probably in excess of a couple of hundred people, because when I asked the question, the chat box went bonkers. So I said, can you just put down your funding requirement? And the majority of people that were on that call were looking for between $100 and $1,000. And yet all the discussion for this conference was about big multi-million-dollar type businesses. Well, you and I both know, CK, that there is commonality between the two. But the commonality between someone who wants $100 and someone who wants $100 million is it needs to be a good project. And if I give you, loan you, invest in you that $100, will I get my money back? Do I trust you? Are you going to do what you say you're going to do? Now, there's no level of uncertainty there, is there? Because this is all about you being passionate about your business. And if you really do know your business and you want your business to succeed, then you really do need to tell your audience, you know, not dictate to them, but say, this is what we do, this is how we do it, and this is why we do it. There's nothing difficult about this. But people say, oh, well, I can't do it because COVID's still around. That's just an excuse. Oh, well, I know that person did it over there, but they've got a different business to me. That's another excuse. So we're all very good at writing excuses, but the book of, in some respects, the book of why I'm going to do it is actually quite a small book. It's a very, very thin book because it's all about you, your behaviors, your purpose, your activity. What are you going to do? And this is where we need to get away from uncertainty. So just, so we need to give people some advice today, CK, to get rid of uncertainty in their life. And I've got loads of things, but I'm going to ask you, okay? Because as ever, this is always an interaction discussion between you and me. This is never a one-way street. What do you think people can do? What do you do to eliminate, not just reduce, but eliminate uncertainty in your life?
Well, I think, Neville, what I would do is to maintain consistency in whatever I'm doing today with confidence. Because one thing is for sure that we are already riding on the digital wave, and we know that the Web 3.0 is going to become reality, if not this year, but next year. So there is no point in changing gear at this point in time, but continue with your activities as you're doing on the digital platform. Number two, I think, is related to the finances. As you rightly pointed out, the finance is a key to drive any business. And I think we should put pressure on our governments to create an infrastructure for SMEs. Because at this point in time, all the infrastructure the government has is promoting the large corporates. And they have not changed that. Because the time is moving ahead, industry is very rapidly changing. It is now getting into true industry 4.0, gig economy, and SMEs, because SME is going to drive the world. But the governments of the world are not moving along fast enough. So I think this Friday we have India Business Bunker, and the discussion point would be, do we need an application to streamline payments between SMEs across the borders? Because right now I can do transfers within the country, but across the border is a big challenge. There is no way Indian businesses can engage with the UK businesses and make the payment for their services. And I think this is a big opportunity that UK businesses and Indian businesses are losing out. There could be a lot of complementary things they can work. So I think in terms of removing uncertainty, to answer your question, I think we have to remove the self-doubt which is running in my mind. That is what I'm going to do, because I know for sure I'm on the right path.
That's excellent, CK. And what you mentioned was a micro issue, in other words, very specific to you, and a macro issue, which is specific to everybody. So let's just focus for the moment on the micro, because you, as an individual, we all need to remove uncertainty. Someone said to me recently, I'm hearing so much from the news, it's all bad news. And every time I put the news on, it really makes me feel uncertain about where we are. It raises doubts in my mind. And I just turned around and said, stop watching the news. Eliminate uncertainty. I mean, the news is if it's going to put more uncertainty in your mind, then just eliminate it. Get rid of it. It's almost like having your best friend that's constantly dragging you down. Just turn around to your best friend and say, look, unless you're going to have a decent conversation with me, I don't want to hear from you. No, your best friend can take that. But more importantly, you've got the zapper, as we call it. Turn off the news. Just turn it off. Switch it off. If it's not doing you any good, why are you watching it anyway? Watch a program that's actually talking about the positive sides, or watch a different news station that's talking about, proper journalism, not the sensationalism that we have out there. But let's not get on that hobby horse too often, because that was a real slippery slope. But yeah, just switch it off is my answer to the micro arena. If it's affecting you in a negative way, switch it off, because that can't be very useful. I don't know, many people that actually say, "Oh, I thrive on negativism." Interesting enough, in what we do, that's all we that's all we thrive on, because people have got negative attitudes, and we're trying to get them into a positive attitude. But on the macro basis, yeah, you're absolutely right, CK. And this week's Indian Business Bunker is going to be absolutely spot on, because of all the fintech opportunities out there. One is, some people call it the blockchain of payments. Forget blockchain, forget all this, these words that are thrown around that a lot of people don't understand. It's literally, when I buy something from you, will I get my money? Will I get my goods? Will you get your money? Are we both happy? Can we go further? I mean, interestingly enough, Amazon is predicated, the Amazon app online, the Amazon.com website is predicated upon you being a real person, making a purchase of a service, and that payment getting through to the supplier. That's what Amazon's all about. And that's why lots of SMEs, particularly in the Western world, have plowed into Amazon, because it just fulfills that very complicated arena. And that's what we need to do. We need to do that across the world. Unfortunately, there's this thing called corporation tax that really is a bit of a problem, and we have to get around that. Not illegally, but we have to get around the problem of the tax situation. But again, in the fintech world, they can do this very quickly. So calling all you fintechers out there, listen to this problem: payments, supplies and payments. And if you can solve that, particularly for the 1.4 billion Indians that are out there, they've got lots to offer in the world. And even if only 10% are in SME land, that's 140 million, which is a pretty big number. So the moral of the day is uncertainty. You can get rid of your own uncertainty just by looking about what makes you uncertain. Look in the mirror, ask yourself the question: what is it out there that is making me uncertain? And then you can ask the question, why am I uncertain? That's a deeper question. So if you can neutralize the first bit, what is it out there that's affecting my commitment, my certainty of life, then you can eliminate that. Then ask the deeper question, which is harder to ask, by the way. Why am I uncertain? It's very personal. It's a tough question. You might get your best friend to help you answer that, or your business colleagues, because that's what you need to eradicate too. Simple message today, CK, I think.
Yes, Neville, I think thank you so much for giving such positive message. I think most of the people must realize that the gig economy is going to be the reality, and the year 2021, which just passed by, is also known as the year of resignation. So a lot of people have resigned. They are rethinking their strategy, what they have to do in life. And I think the SME arena is going to blow up in 2022. It's just the beginning. And therefore, this uncertainty should be removed from the mind, and each one of us must think in a more strategic manner. So thank you so much. It has been always a pleasure to talk to you, Neville. You have a good Monday and successful one, and we will catch up in the India Business Bunker this Friday, or I will also catch you next Monday as usual.
Thank you, CK. Good luck, everybody. And again, it's completely in your control, even if you don't think it is. So have a good Monday, have a good rest of the week, and make the change.